with investment proposals here, because our next guest runs one of the fastest growing private wealth practices in India. Alok Saigal joins us. He's president and head at Nuvama Private. Customer assets there are around about $27 billion. A big responsibility for you, Alok, there, of course. So tell us in a nutshell, after the great run-up that we're seeing, are we seeing any sense of cautiousness, or is it more of the same?
I would say it is a mixed bag, because, there is obviously been a great run-up, but, there is a big event around the corner in India, which is the general elections in May. And we had a sort of a mini general election in the month of, November and December, and the outcome has favored the existing ruling government. And basis that, the market has obviously extrapolated that in the May elections also. So I would say there is some, caution, but there's going to be a lot more of the same, is I would say in a nutshell, because, a lot of tailwinds are there. And obviously now with global macros improving slightly from where they were some time back, that is also turning out to be a big positive right now.
So tell me, is the industry changing and evolving and maturing there as well? And what are the sort of themes that you're going to be following through the course of this year?
So I'll give you a slight, Rishad, I'll give you a slight macro and a bit of a micro perspective here. And I'll take not too much of your time, but just an interesting perspective. India, there are three broad themes that are happening. Obviously, it's a story that, I don't need to talk about on your channel, that India is growing. There are macro tailwinds. A lot of positive stuff is happening. But if you see the Indian wealth management industry per se, India always used to be, the wealth was concentrated in 9 to 10 cities. And if you see now, in any of the rich lists that are there and the top 1,000 families in India, 10 years ago, this was concentrated in 10 cities. This list now is concentrated in 62 cities. That is the story that India is actually playing out, that the wealth is moving from tier 1 to tier 2 cities. So that is a big trend that we are seeing. The second big trend that we are seeing as a macro trend is that Indian wealth is getting younger. We are talking about India demography and all these positive aspects about India, but the wealth in India is actually getting younger. India is witnessing perhaps the biggest intergenerational wealth transfer that anybody has seen. And the third part is India used to be a single currency market always, but post-COVID, India has started embracing offshore. India has started seeing significant investment and interest in, and with government's initiatives around Gift City, making overseas investments easier, more welcoming, there's actually a lot of interest in offshore. So these are the three macro, obviously, asset classes that we are seeing. Macro themes, I would say, that we are seeing. On a micro front, we are obviously seeing that, interest rates seem to have peaked out, and that is also obviously linked with the global demand. So interest rates, and therefore asset classes, and which we can maybe talk about a little later as well, that are, the emerging asset classes because of that. The other is obviously continued interest in equity. So, yeah, that is broadly what we are seeing right now.
Alok, you talk about the wealth transfer in India. It's happening across Asia, actually. I'm just wondering, is the younger population deploying their money differently?
Yes. They are far better informed, far better educated, a lot more exposure. So you are seeing, India is seeing obviously a very phenomenal startup culture. And therefore, they want to be investing in new age companies. They want to be investing and be participating in development of new age companies, the venture space, the startup space. So that is an asset class that is being driven a lot by the rich. And a lot of these people are, I would use the word community investment, where, a peer is investing, they are looking at that and obviously trying to, support some of that. And obviously there is a commercial angle involved. So that is one space that we are seeing. The second is the risk-taking ability of this generation is very different. The older generation in India was very much, real estate, fixed deposits, gold generation. And this generation with the exposure is, looking at more financial solutions, a lot more asset allocation. So there is a complete, differentiation in terms of the thinking and sophistication. Let me add that word. A lot
Right.
of sophistication has come in the market because of this generation.
So a lot more wealth for you to manage. What does it mean for Nuvama? Are you hiring? Where are you in terms of the hiring of relationship managers?
I would say this is one of the most interesting times for wealth management industry and the most difficult time as well, because Indian wealth management industry is growing, booming. Everybody is trying to jump in and, set up a wealth management outfit. And as you rightly said, relationship managers are the key drivers, raw materials for this industry. And we are obviously hiring from a talent pool across banks, competing wealth management firms. We are also have hired some interesting investment banking, deal makers as wealth managers, because increasingly with the pool of money coming, and we're looking at a far broader portfolio. So we have tried to do some alternate hiring, what I call, from investment banking, from asset management companies, and also we are grooming talent. So we are hiring for last 2 years. We are hiring a lot of management graduates and grooming and training them as wealth managers. But it is a difficult task. Yeah, go ahead.
Alok, it is difficult. It is difficult because there's so many of you now burgeoning. There's so many competitors you have. So is it time, very, very quickly here, for a spate of consolidation? Because you're all competing for the same client and that client's wallet.
I personally feel that over the next 18 to 24 months, we will see consolidation. Because what has happened is that this year also has been very interesting for wealth management firm in India. While the market itself has grown, there have been a spate of regulatory changes, and the cost of doing business, the number of players that are there, and margins shrinking in this industry. So unless somebody has a full-fledged large platform that is available, it's very difficult to compete in this market. And we will see over a period of time, and my sense is we are already starting to see that some consolidation is happening. A lot of the IFAs, as we call, or the independent financial advisors, are already seeking out. Some of the smaller outfits are struggling, and that is going to happen. So there is definitely scope for consolidation, and we are very open and enthused to look at some of these opportunities, if I can say that.
All right. Alok, thank you so much for that. Alok Saigal, Nuvama Private. He talks about some consolidation happening, but no consolidation yet in the Indian markets. Let's take a look at how they're doing at the start of the trading session. Continue to gain for the benchmarks pretty much across the board.